Hi there, guys. It's a monthly release. I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but it seems like we've got a monthly cadence going on for our releases. And here is the September release for 2025-09. Not a lot of things I can show in it, but I will cover them off as best as I can. And starting off at the bottom here, FPP Connect, make sure upload playlists have the random value set. This was something I found. If you do FPP Connect, maybe this is a feature some people don't even know about. But if you go FPP Connect, there is an option on the right-hand side to create or update a playlist for your sequences that you're uploading. So I have this one here as my little test guy. You can come over here in playlist, and I'm going to say new playlist. Just whatever name you might be Halloween, Christmas, etc. You can choose existing ones if you have them. It'll show that it'll pop up. Anyway, when you do this thing and you add a sequence here and you click on upload, you will get a new playlist. And like open it up here, go over here. Previously, if you went to content setup, playlists, and new playlist, if you clicked on new playlist, you would see that the randomized set invalid value because it wasn't being set properly. And what this value is what it says right there. It's randomized. So normally we have to come in here and you click on the playlist and set up whether you want randomized off once per load or every iteration. So the bug was that it wasn't being set at all. So I guess it defaulted to off, but it did leave an invalid status back here on the screen. So that just corrected that issue there. So it should be fine. Something that we put a bug fix in, but quite frankly, it's not quite working yet. Um, if you have a Mac OS and you have files that are not stored on an Apple file system, it creates files that it stores the metadata on it. So it's like it says period underscore sequence name. And in the batch render results, it would list those as choices. We didn't get a chance to test it prior to releasing it, and the bug fix didn't work. So we'll address that in the next version. It's not mission critical; it's just a convenience item. So we'll fix that up. Now, this here is tr attributed to me, but quite frankly, Dan actually fixed the code, and that it brings back the tab function. Um, it's actually a bigger issue than just the tab function. It was causing crashes on the Mac side. So his fix to correct the Mac side broke the Windows side. My fix for the Windows breaks the Mac side. He actually came and fixed it properly. So we think we got it now. So just if you notice the channel numbers up here, just keep your eye on that. And I'm going to put in 5 here. And I'm just going to hit the tab key. I'm going to hit the tab key, and you'll notice that the channel count changes. And there you go. So that means it's recognizing the tab. So quite often in the Zoom room, we'll say every time you enter a value, be sure to hit tab or enter. In fact, the tab key wasn't working for a couple of versions because of this other fix. So Dan has got the correct fix in there now. So we should be good. Fingers crossed on both the Mac and the Windows side of things. Big changes coming on the Mac side of things. So on the Mac side of things, I have Mac running on a remote desktop here. And if I go to the App Store, yeah, there's this new major update. So it's a new OS that's coming, Mac OS Tahoe. I think it was just released a couple days ago, but Dan has access to the early beta and he saw this coming down the pipe. And he found that when you switch to the Mac OS Tahoe, I don't know all the details, but I believe it's in the dark mode. A lot of the um, icons and such. I think one specifically was the value curve. You couldn't see it very well, so he's made a bunch of fixes and changes to the appearance on the Mac OS side of things. Being a new OS, guys, there may be other issues, so keep your eyes open. If you find icons that don't look right, or if you're seeing crashes or whatever, be sure and create issue tickets so that everybody can improve on this and find them out going forward. So as people get updated on Tahoe, you're gonna see that. All right, I'm not going to bother showing this one, but a check sequence, so tools check sequence, it was flagging warnings for controllers that were marked as FPP only. So, for example, this show player, it would list it in the check sequences saying inactive or something like that, but it's not truly inactive. It's just a FPP player. In other words, let's remove the useless warnings from the check sequence and only so you can focus on the real ones, right? Um, don't allow submodel faces to be copied to image types. So when you have, let's see if I can find an example here. You do right click here, export faces and states and submodels. And yes, yes, yes. It's going to exclude image models. So I have a bunch of image models, maybe not on this layout, but anyway, they're not going to be included here because it doesn't make sense to copy submodels and faces to image models. So they're not even going to be added to the pick list, okay? Um, uh, no path is defined. It's not coming to my mind what that was for. Handle crash when moving heads when no path is defined. I think that was there was an underlying crash with the MH presets. So it couldn't handle that. I think that was what it is. Anyway, it was a crash on moving heads, so we've addressed that. Um, Dan has found something with iCloud, so making sure your XQZ files are downloaded from iCloud before trying to open them. So I'm assuming that it's just doing a check to make sure that it's there before you double click on them. Must have been an edge case for somewhere. Dom has added a new Baldrick controller, so that would be on the controllers tab. Let me cancel it here. Go to the controllers tab. So it's going to be a new item here under vendors and model type. Okay, so that's done there. Scott, by the way, did a presentation in the Zoom room last Wednesday regarding the Hinkspix and changes and such for that. And as a part of that, he announced a bunch of updates and enhancements that he's done to the Hinkspix controller side. I think he mentioned a lot about being various right-click options. So if you have a Hinkspix controller, be sure to be on the lookout for that. Um, and I'm going to skip this one, go to the one above it because it goes into that. With this new Tahoe version, again, I'm not a Mac expert, but with this new Tahoe version, there's new Apple Intelligence that's baked into the OS now. So Dan has exposed that in xLights, and he's adding that as a new service provider. And I'll show you that on my remote desktop. So if I close this guy, so now if you went to xLights preferences, you now have a new option on a Mac side of thing, Apple Intelligence. You can say that it's enabled. So once you say that it's enabled, let me do that. You can come down here, and there's a quirk here where the button won't be, you can't click it until you come here and choose Apple Intelligence. Once you do that, you can click on the test button. Now remember, this is only for users that have macOS on the Tahoe release. I'm not on the Tahoe release, so this is the expected results. It's saying no response because I cannot run Apple Intelligence on mine because I'm not on that new release. But if you have that new release of the OS, feel free to come in here, hit the test buttons, and it should respond for you. Now I'm going to flip back here and I'm going to mention what little piece of AI we're making use of now. We're still learning. We're still adding new things. So what this allows us to do, and I'm not sure I think I can demo it. Well, I obviously can't demo it because I don't have the Apple Intelligence installed. But under this option here, you now have a generate palette, and it will you can put in a song name. Um, whatever. Baby Shark is always my whatever. And actually, it'll pull from your song if you've already got it open up the sequence. And then if you hit generate, and I'm sure it's going to say something like it's not there because I told you that it wasn't there. But if you have the new OS, you should be able to do Baby Shark and it'll come back with your results. And then it would populate these colors here. So if you have Apple Intelligence and you have that, it should work. But Scott also backported that onto the Windows side of things. On the Windows side of things, you'd have to have Olama installed, which is a local version, a local LLM, hence the words LL in there, uh, running on your Windows machine. Then it provides that same functionality that we just saw in Apple Intelligence. Uh, I found that my Olama actually broke in this last month or so. Apparently, Olama moved up to a newer release, and my older, poor little NVIDIA 1070 Ti is no longer supported. So I can no longer demonstrate that either, unfortunately. And but it's what we showed. There's a video on it as well. And I guess that's it. That's the top three right there, because that's Dan putting it into the Mac side of things, Scott adding it back to the Windows side of things, and in conjunction adding the Apple Intelligence. So currently, that's really the only meaningful AI piece that we have in xLights right now is the testing feature, obviously, in here when we go to preferences and in the color palettes that's in the drop-down menu right here when you say generate palette. So give it a try, see what it does for you. If you have ideas on what AI might be able to help with xLights, I know there's this big pipe dream to have it do everything. That's not going to happen yet. But if there's these little quirks that we might find, maybe there's something that you thought of that maybe we can implement in xLights, let us know. Leave a comment, get some discussion going, and let's see where we can take xLights next year. That's it for the release notes. Let us know if you have any issues. See you in the Zoom room. Again, short but sweet. Don't expect a lot of big changes. We're just looking at bug fixes now as we're getting the the prime seasons for xLights users. Be sure and hit out xlightsaroundtheworld.com. They have their stuff is coming out shortly. There's also a similar one for Halloween horrors for those looking to participate in that project as well for the Halloween displays. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoy the release and see you in the Zoom room. Have a great day.